So Tanya, tell me more about peer-to-peer lending.
Sure. So peer-to-peer lending encompasses two basic streams. You've got a commercial model and you've got a consumer model. So peer-to-consumer lending would be lending to an individual, so me, as a normal person. And in the United Kingdom there are two, there's more than two, but there's two really popular platforms that do that. It's RateSetter and Zopa. So what I would do as an individual is I say, look, I need 1,500 quid. And I would go on to one of these platforms and I put some general information about myself. They do a credit check, and then they can determine what my affordability is, what my rate ought to be, what I'm willing to pay. And then I can get a loan very, very quickly, and it's an unsecured loan.
Right.
And then on the other side of it, you've got lenders that can go onto one of these websites and they say, okay, look, I'm going to put in X amount of money, and then they can actually allocate where that money that you're lending will go. What happens is that borrowers can access finance very quickly. And sometimes it's not so much that the rate is spectacular against what they would maybe been able to get from a bank. The problem is that they wouldn't have had access from their banks. And this is not because they're bad borrowers, but there's a number of reasons why they're not able to either get the loan or get the terms that they would want from a loan.
So off the top of your head, what are those reasons usually?
Well, we looked at what are the main motivations for borrowers in the consumer space, and a big part of it was speed. And terms. So a lot of borrowers really want to access, when they need finance, they need it quickly. And that is not something that can always happen with a bank. On the other side, you have peer-to-peer lending for businesses. And that's probably the biggest chunk. It is the biggest chunk of finance, of the total finance that's being created in alternative finance in the UK. And what that is this is a facility where businesses can go onto a platform and they can access a loan, a secured or unsecured loan, typically of 3-year term, but anywhere from a 1 to 5 year term. And interest rates, they vary, but you're kind of looking at something like an 8 to 10%, depending on what you're looking at. What's nice for these businesses is, again, it's all about speed. They can go onto the platform, and assuming that they have all of their information together, and they typically need to have at least 3 years of trading history. You need to be able to provide some accounting. But assuming that you can do all of that, and your rating is within a certain threshold that the platform will permit, you can access finance very quickly, usually up to 2 weeks.
Right.
So that's very different from what.
That is, and that's even for commercials. It's
just so this is it's about 2 weeks. I mean, again, it depends. If you're doing a much larger ticket loan, it might take a bit longer. But compared to your bank, accessing finance like that is a very big plus for small businesses.
So, what's the average amount that's lent and borrowed in this space, would you say?
It depends on what you're looking at. So
maybe for commercials.
I'll do all of them.
Okay, great.
For an individual, for a borrower, actually, hold on, I'm gonna look it up because I don't want to tell you the wrong thing. Sorry. Can you pause it for a second? Because I want to actually give you the right info.
It's okay. It's a test.
Okay.
It's all a test. I mean, I don't mean a test as in an exam. I mean a test, a vignette.
Yeah. No, but I mean this is kind of interesting stuff, and that way we can actually give you the exact numbers.
It's working well.
It likes being on telly.
So
just waving your mouth.
For your peer-to-peer consumer loan, the average loan size is £5,471. For your peer-to-peer business lending loan, the average loan size is $73,000. However, real estate has become an increasingly large new asset class that is being lent on the place. So average property loans there is actually 662.
Really?
So that's quite a lot. Yeah, it's big difference. So when we do our study again, we're going to actually separate unsecured and secured business loans from property loans because it's a totally different beast.
Right.
Yeah. that's it. That's all of it.
Well, Tanya, thanks so much for talking us through the two main pillars of alternative finance. And that's it for us here in Cambridge.
Thanks.
Nice.